So what two numbers multiply together to give me negative 20 and add to positive 1? The ones that come to my mind are 5 and negative 4. So I'm going to write these out over here by x plus 5 and x minus 4. Again, now I've still got this little 2 hanging around here. You don't have to worry about this if it's a 1 because anything divided by 1 is just itself. However, now we have to divide by that 2. This is still all equal to 0. This over here will simplify. This one won't. So we take that 2, we slide it over. Let me get that. Then we can solve for each of these individually. 2x plus 5 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. We can subtract 2x equals minus 5, and then divide by 2. X equals negative 5 over 2. And then here we can add 2 to find x equals 2. So there are my two solutions for this. All right. The next set of problems is going to allow us to use square roots to solve. So there's one guideline that I want to talk about here. Whenever you're doing this, make sure all of your variables are on one side and all of your numbers are on the other side. These are going to be really useful if you just have an x squared and a constant. If you have an x squared and an x, this won't work very well. However, with just the x squared and the constant, this will work really nicely. So, if I have x squared equal to 49, we can check this and say, well, we have variables on one side, number on the other. We just have an x squared and a constant. That works out nicely. In order to undo the square, we have to take the square root. So if I take the square root of both sides here, what I have to take into consideration is I need to add in a plus or minus sign. Whenever I take a square root, I have to be a plus or minus. So the square root of x squared just simplifies to x, and that equals positive or negative square root of 49, which we know is the same thing as positive or negative 7. And that's it. Then we're done with that problem. The next one we have has a number on the side with the x squared. So again, we want to get just the variables by themselves. So in order to do that, I'm going to divide by 25. I'm going to get x squared equals 9 over 25. That won't simplify nicely. But then I need to take the square root of both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus. Then I'm going to say, well, that x squared and that square root cancel, so x equals plus or minus the square root of 9 over 25. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 25 is 5. And the last one we have to do of this type we have both terms on one side and 0 on the other. So I need to isolate the variable. So add 9, 36x squared equals 9. Divide by 36. X squared equals 9 over 36. All right. You can do this one of two ways. You can either reduce the fraction at this point, or you can wait to do the square roots. It doesn't matter to me. I find it easier to do the square root. So you got the plus or minus there. X equals plus or minus square root of 9 over 36. Again, the square root of 9 is 3. Don't need that square root there. So the square root of 9 is 3. And the square root of 36 is 6. which we can simplify down to 1/2, plus or minus. And the last type of problem is a pretty simple type. The only thing is we need to factor something out first, like a common term. So this last problem I'm going to have here, let's say I had x squared plus 25x. And I want to find, again, the zeros or the roots. I don't have a 0 here, so I set it equal to 0. And then what I need to do is I need to pull out anything that's common. So I know that there's an x that's common throughout. So I have x and then x plus 25 equal to 0. I know how to solve something like this. I have a number or a variable times a number or some other variable equal to 0. And that tells me that I can use the zero product property, and I know that one of them is equal to 0 at least. So set x equal to 0, or x plus 25 equal to 0. X equals 0, no simplification needed there. So the only thing I need to do is check on the other side, and then we're finished. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's a little bit different. If you had questions, you can at least rewind the different videos and go back and listen to things again. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday.